The experience of ing comes with a powerful sense of déjà vu. Isn't this just a bit similar to, sure, it's the first time Superman Henry Cavill, Batman Ben Affleck, and Wonder Woman Gal Gadot teamed with The Flash Ezra Miller, Aquaman, Jason Momoa and Cyborg Ray Fisher to save the world, but it's understandable if fans feel like they've been through this before, and it was better the first go-around. This is because feels an awful like, in a great many ways, right down to the presence of Joss Whedon, who wrote and directed for Marvel, and was chosen by DC Films to not only direct reshoots but oversees post-production. As a result, delivers much of what innovated in the summer of 2012, but without the overwhelming success and acclaim Marvel's Phase 1 Kappa earned. Related every change Joss Whedon made to Zack Snyder's original Justice League vision. Marvel Studios can rightly be lauded for the method they used create the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Starting with Iron Man, 4 of the 6 core members of the Avengers headlined their own successful films before assembling in a huge superhero team-up. Fans got to know Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., Thor Chris Hemsworth, Captain America Chris Evans and the Hulk in their solo outings, though Mark Ruffalo would take over the role of Hulk Bruce Banner from Edward Norton. It all worked without a hitch. Even Hawkeye Jeremy Renner, Black Widow Scarlett Johansson, and Nick Fury Samuel L. Jackson were properly established by guest starring in the previous films before everything coalesced in under Joss Whedon's guidance. Marvel took their time, played their hand, and the massive success they reaped speaks to how brilliantly Marvel's Phase 1 master plan was executed. DC Films obviously wanted to emulate Marvel's success but went about creating the DCEU in almost the exact opposite method, while filming was still underway in the fall of 2014. Originally intended as a two-parter, was formally announced after 2013's established Superman and Only Superman, though the film contains a tiny Easter egg about Wayne Industries in this universe. It was decided would be a gigantic grab bag to introduce the multiple components of the Justice League all at once. Wonder Woman would have a major role, while The Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg would have cameos to establish their existence in the DCEU. Dream sequences would also establish the villains, revealed to be Steppenwolf and the Parademons invading from Apokolips, with only Superman and Batman, divisive incarnations of both for fans at that. Actually established. Thank you Wonder Woman not only impressed fans in but won the world over with her solo film, the most acclaimed DCEU movie to date. DC Films seem to be putting the cart before the horse. Zack Snyder, who certainly has a great many fans and defenders, promised a lighter, more fun and optimistic tone for in the DCEU. However, when his assembly cut of the film wasn't well received, some outside help was brought in to punch up the screenplay. Joss Whedon, the mastermind who was now estranged from Marvel and was announced as the writer-director of DC's when Snyder had to step away from due to a family tragedy, Whedon was given the reins to direct approximately 2 months of reshoots and to oversee the film's post-production. Related, why was Superman's CGI-raised mustache so bad in Justice League? Instead of coming up with a new type of superhero story as D's first adventure, DC instead ultimately hewed all too closely to the formula Whedon used for both films. Have many basic similarities in their plots, 6 superheroes having to form a team to stop an alien invasion, cubes which are alien power sources, space portals the aliens come through. Only one female hero can be a founder of the team. The heroes lose the first fight but win in the end, etc. How much this was the original plan is unclear, but it must have been a no-brainer for Whedon to step in, since what he was asked to complete in Snyder's place was already so familiar to him. Whedon punched up the humor, literally brightened the picture, and gave some of the crowd-pleasing touches he already knew worked for. Unlike, however, was mandated by the studio to come in at 2 hours long, which caused many scenes to be deleted and affected the pacing of the story, with lots of scenes already shown in the trailers cut out of the final picture and the respective visions of 2 directors visibly clashing. Feels like not just a clone of Marvel and Whedon's previous success, but also a weird chimera of a movie that seems to be missing some of its own necessary body parts. Yes, it's certainly a movie, but it's hardly a movie by any means, even considering the derivative nature of the superhero genre. Even its marketing reeked of similarity. Trailers feature a cover of the Beatles' Come Together, not unlike how trailer utilized Nine Inch Nails' We're in This Together. It's hard to blame DC Films and Warner Brothers for hoping their crown jewel would equal the success of Marvel. The lesson here is in how the entire DCEU was rushed from inception without exercising the patience and necessary steps, as well as learning from trial and error that Marvel took to ensure the success they currently enjoy. Many fans naturally ask why the Justice League teamed up before Aquaman, Flash and Cyborg had their solo features first, or before Ben Affleck's Batman even had a movie of his own to better establish the DCEU's version of The Dark Knight to further wipe the slate clean from his controversial depiction in related Is Justice League worse than Batman v Superman? The answer to all questions is simply there was pot of gold DC and WB imagined at the end of the rainbow, and they wanted it quickly and at all costs, even before the League itself was truly ready to win over the world. Instead, they hedged their bets with a case of monkey see, monkey do and tried to ride Marvel's original wave. The result is another DC movie not just dividing fans but now also disappointing at the box office. Hope for the sake of the Justice League and its fans, the ride ain't over yet. Next, Justice League justifies the DCEU's dark past.